The Code of Hammurabi is a well-preserved Babylonian law code of ancient Mesopotamia, dating back to about 1754 BC. It is one of the oldest deciphered writings of significant length in the world. The sixth Babylonian king, Hammurabi, enacted the code, and partial copies exist on a man-sized stone stela and various clay tablets. The code consists of 282 laws, with scaled punishments, adjusting, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, as graded depending on social status, of slave versus free man. Nearly one-half of the code deals with matters of contract, establishing, for example, the wages to be paid to an ox driver or a surgeon. Other provisions set the terms of a transaction, establishing the liability of a builder for a house that collapses, for example, or property that is damaged while left in the care of another. A third of the code addresses issues concerning household and family relationships such as inheritance, divorce, paternity, and sexual behavior. Only one provision appears to impose obligations on an official. This provision establishes that a judge who reaches an incorrect decision is to be fined and removed from the bench permanently. A few provisions address issues related to military service. The code was discovered by modern archaeologists in 1901, and its Editio Princeps translation published in 1902 by Jean-Vincent Scheil. This nearly complete example of the code is carved into a basalt stela in the shape of a huge index finger, 2.25 meters tall. The code is inscribed in the Akkadian language, using cuneiform script carved into the stela. It is currently on display in the Louvre, with exact replicas in the Oriental Institute at the University of Chicago, the Library of the Theological University of the Reformed Churches in the Netherlands, the Pergamon Museum of Berlin, and the National Museum of Iran in Tehran. History. Hammurabi ruled for nearly 42 years, about 1792 to 1750 BC according to the Middle Chronology. In the preface to the law, he states, Anu and Bel called by name me, Hammurabi, the exalted prince, who feared Marduk, the patron god of Babylon, to bring about the rule in the land. On the stone slab are 44 columns and 28 paragraphs that contain 282 laws. The laws follow along the rules of an eye for an eye. It had been taken as plunder by the Elamite king Shutruk-Nahunta in the 12th century BC and was taken to Susa in Elam, where it was no longer available to the Babylonian people. However, when Cyrus the Great brought both Babylon and Susa under the rule of his Persian Empire, and placed copies of the document in the Library of Sippar, the text became available for all the peoples of the vast Persian Empire to view. In 1901, Egyptologist Gustave Jequier, a member of an expedition headed by Jacques de Morgan, found the stela containing the Code of Hammurabi during archaeological excavations at the ancient site of Susa in Khuzestan. Law. The Code of Hammurabi was one of several sets of laws in the ancient Near East. The Code of Laws was arranged in orderly groups, so that all who read the laws would know what was required of them. Earlier collections of laws include the Code of Ur-Nammu, king of Ur, the laws of Esnunna and the Codex of Lipitishtar of Ising, while later ones include the Hittite laws, the Assyrian laws, and Mosaic law. These codes come from similar cultures in a relatively small geographical area, and they have passages which resemble each other. The Code of Hammurabi is the longest surviving text from the Old Babylonian period. The code has been seen as an early example of a fundamental law regulating a government, i.e., a primitive constitution. The code is also one of the earliest examples of the idea of presumption of innocence, and it also suggests that both the accused and accuser have the opportunity to provide evidence. The occasional nature of many provisions suggests that the code may be better understood as a codification of Hammurabi's supplementary judicial decisions, and that by memorializing his wisdom and justice, its purpose may have been the self-glorification of Hammurabi rather than a modern legal code or constitution. However, its copying in subsequent generations indicates that it was used as a model of legal and judicial reasoning. Other copies. Various copies of portions of the Code of Hammurabi have been found on baked clay tablets, some possibly older than the celebrated basalt stela now in the Louvre. The prologue of the Code of Hammurabi is on such a tablet, also at the Louvre. Some gaps in the list of benefits bestowed on cities recently annexed by Hammurabi may imply that it is older than the famous stela. Likewise, the Museum of the Ancient Orient, part of the Istanbul Archaeology Museums, also has a Code of Hammurabi clay tablet, dated to 1750 BC. In July 2010, archaeologists reported that a fragmentary Akkadian cuneiform tablet was discovered at Tel Hazer, Israel, containing a circa 1700 BC text that was said to be partly parallel to portions of the Hammurabi Code. The Hazer Law Code fragments are currently being prepared for publication by a team from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. Laws covered. The laws covered such subjects as slander x. Law number 127. If anyone point the finger at a sister of a god or the wife of anyone, and cannot prove it, this man shall be taken before the judges and his brow shall be marked. Trade x. Law number 265. If a herdsman, to whose care cattle or sheep have been entrusted, be guilty of fraud and make false returns of the natural increase, or sell them for money, then shall he be convicted and pay the owner 10 times the loss. Slavery x. Law number 15. If anyone take a male or female slave of the court, or a male or female slave of a freedman, outside the city gates, he shall be put to death. The duties of workers x. Law number 42. If anyone take over a field to till it, and obtain no harvest therefrom, it must be proved that he did no work on the field, and he must deliver grain, just as his neighbor raised, to the owner of the field. Theft x. Law number 22. If anyone is committing a robbery and is caught, then he shall be put to death. Food x. Law number 104. If a merchant give an agent corn, wool, oil, or any other goods to transport, the agent shall give a receipt for the amount, and compensate the merchant therefor. Then he shall obtain a receipt from the merchant for the money that he gives the merchant. Liability x. Law number 53. If anyone be too lazy to keep his dam in proper condition, and does not so keep it, if then the dam break and all the fields be flooded, then shall he in whose dam the break occurred be sold for money, and the money shall replace the corn which he has caused to be ruined. Divorce x. Law number 142. If a woman quarrel with her husband, and say, "You are not congenial to me," the reasons for her prejudice must be presented. If she is guiltless, and there is no fault on her part, but he leaves and neglects her, then no guilt attaches to this woman. She shall take her dowry and go back to her father's house. One of the best-known laws from Hammurabi's code was x. Law number 196. If a man destroy the eye of another man, they shall destroy his eye. If one break a man's bone, they shall break his bone. If one destroy the eye of a freeman or break the bone of a freeman, he shall pay 1 gold mina. If one destroy the eye of a man's slave or break a bone of a man's slave, he shall pay 1/2 his price. Hammurabi had many other punishments as well. If a son strikes his father, his hands shall be hewn off.